Hey guys, Casual Game Ready 4, welcome back to the game room. Today I have a super chill video for you all. It may actually end up being a two-part video, I'm not sure. But we're going to go over 20 tips to game collecting in 2022. So hopefully this will help you all out. If you're interested in growing your collection, you kind of want to know what tactics I've used to get the stuff that I've got. So if you want to see that, stick around. Okay guys, so we're going to kick off 20 tips to collecting video games in 2022. Now this is what I've used in the past, and I know it'll work going forward. You may be able to use these tips towards collecting plates or whatever other weird stuff that you all are into. Anyway, so we're going to get straight into it with number 20. Buy what you like. I know that should probably go without saying, but what I found myself in when I first started collecting on the level that I'm collecting on now is if it was cheap, I bought it. If it was cheap, I bought it. And then you amass this big collection, and it looks good on the shelf, but then you get into the situation 6 months or a year down the road, you don't have room for stuff that you want to keep. And you have all this other stuff to get rid of or do something with, and it's just a pain to deal with. So if it's something you don't like, don't buy it unless you're buying it to resell. That's a whole nother thing to get into later down the road. But yeah, buy what you like. Alright, so number 19. And these aren't in any particular order. It's not like a top tips or anything. It's just 20 tips. So, knowledge is money. Start learning. And what I mean by that is don't overpay for something that you don't have to overpay for. You want to kind of look at it like an investment. And, you don't want to invest in something that's not worth that. So look at price charting. Look at eBay. If you look at eBay, look at sold comps and see what they're actually selling for. Forums and other YouTube videos and things like that. Go to local game stores and stuff and look at the prices of stuff so you can gather a base knowledge of what you're doing. So number 18. This one is one that I struggled with. And the reason that I struggled with it is there's a certain stigma about video game collecting. You're a nerd or whatever. It's ingrained in us in school. You like the video games, you like electronics, you're a nerd. You're somehow not the cool kid, or you're not the cool person. And I don't care like who you are or how old you are. I think that we genuinely want to be liked. We want friendships. We're not all the hateful person that doesn't want to be around anyone. If you all was that way, you wouldn't be watching this video. So I was very hesitant, when I got into collecting, is telling my friends and my coworkers who are manly men, and we hunt and fish and camp and all this other stuff, and I do that as well, and I enjoy doing that. But a part of me thought that they would see me as less of a friend, or whatever. But I eventually overcame that, and I told everyone that I knew, all my friends on Facebook. I started posting on my personal Facebook page about my channel and stuff, and it paid off, because the friends that you have that aren't necessarily into video games, they will find this stuff for you and let you know. We've got two really good friends that are into video games, I guess. You know, they enjoy playing them. They're kind of nostalgic for them, but not on the level that I am. And that's Chody, Matt, and B Ryan. It's almost, you know, every other day, if not daily, I get a message from one of them, if not both of them, saying, "Hey, you know, you interested in this? Hey, I picked this up for you," or "Hey, look at this," and it's something that you can't buy, I guess, in a sense. You could probably pay someone to go look at stuff for you, but it's cool to have that. And, you know, I've even got other friends that aren't even remotely interested in video games that'll message me and be like, "Hey, you know, I seen this on Facebook or whatever." So yeah, that's cool. And if your friends don't embrace your nerdy side, your geek side, guess what? They're not your friends to begin with. So tell your family, your friends, your coworkers, tell everybody, and it'll help you out in the long run. I promise. Number 17, find your local community. Whether it's Facebook groups or whether it's, you know, if you've got like a mom and pop game store, going there and hanging out and getting to know people. You could probably even go to like GameStop and stuff and you know, meet people there and find your local community that way. That's another one of the probably the best things that I've done in video game collecting is finding that local community, and in doing that, I've made tons of well, I say tons and tons. I've made really good friends. We'll put it that way. From the channel, learning the community, whether it be through, you know, selling stuff that I didn't need anymore, I didn't want anymore, or selling stuff to get something else. My boy Tim, I know, you know, he moved away, so he's not local anymore, but I know he's watching. My boy Dink, I would wager to say that we would not be friends had it not been for video games. We just never would have met. So find your local community. They've helped me find deals. So, hey, yeah, just find your local community. 16, conventions. If you can go to conventions, go to conventions. Conventions is the single best place to find those hard to get items. Because someone else has already done all the work for you. With that being said, it's going to come with a cost. So be ready for that and prepare for that going into the convention. You're going to pay a premium for the harder to get items because someone's already done all the work for you. But that's not always the case, and we'll get into that later down the list of something you should do at conventions. Well, several things we'll talk about you should do at conventions to get the best deal that you can. And one of those, that's a great segue into number 15. Number 15, learn to haggle. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And a lot of these are based on that people are very similar to me. And the aspect that if I'm selling something online or if I'm selling something in a Facebook group or something like that, that when I put my initial price on it, I factor in that haggling. So learn to haggle, but don't get greedy. An example of that would be if you're already getting a really good deal on that, don't try to get a better deal. An example, I went to Madison Buy Sell Trade, awesome store that I found. I'll link the video in the description below. Go back and watch that one. But I got Fear Files, which is an $80 game or something like that, for $15. And I got Silent Hill Downpour, I believe, which I think is the $40 range now for $15. I was already getting such a good deal. It makes no sense for me to haggle with them and try to get that price lower. Because then what that's going to do as that's going to make them salty more than likely, uh, or they're going to look it up to see how good of a deal they can give you and realize, oh, hold on a minute, I've got these way underpriced to begin with. And that's going to hurt your chances going back. So you want to build relationships with the people that you're going to haggle with. So just don't get greedy. Number 14, use every resource at your disposal. Friends and family and internet, phone, Facebook groups, local community. Every resource that you got to find video games, use them. Number 13. This is a big one, and I still struggle with this to today, even though I use an app. Keep track of what you have. At first, it's going to seem like, I keep track of this stuff. It's as easy. I know what games I have. I do know some of my favorites that I have in my NES collection, but it's gotten so big over the last couple years that there's no way that I can remember everything I have in my collection. Example being, I remember thinking, hey, that Mission Impossible on NES, it looks kind of fun. Whether it was or not, that's another story. But I read an article in Nintendo Power, an old issue that I bought, and I thought, man, I really want to play that game. I want to give it a fair shot. So I need to pick that up. And then I picked it up, and then a few weeks later, I seen it, and I said, yeah, I wanted to play that game. So I picked it up. Well, then I have 2 copies of Mission Impossible on NES. And I don't need 2 copies of that game, and I'm sure that you all don't need 2 copies of that game. So keep track of what you have. Use an app or a spreadsheet or something like that, and refer to that when you're buying stuff, just to make sure that you're not buying doubles. It's just a hassle. The only time that I would buy a double is if it's something that I'm going to resell, and that brings me into number 12. Buying and selling is okay. So you can buy stuff to sell stuff, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, regardless of what anybody says. That's how I've managed to build the collection that I have. It's because I've bought stuff cheap, I've made a profit on that, and still gave the ultimate end user or the ultimate owner of that item a good deal. Which kind of goes back to don't be greedy. I'm a firm believer in karma. So if you're giving people good deals, you will in turn get good deals, or they'll keep coming back to get stuff from you. So it's okay to buy and resell. Now don't scalp. That's a whole nother animal. But it's okay to buy and resell to fund your addiction, your hobby, your habit, your hoarding, whatever. It's fun it's okay to do that. So number 11, don't rely on stuff that's not working. So if you're going to one particular Goodwill, and that's the only place you go, and you go there every day, and you're turning up with nothing, no dice every time you go, it's time to change that up. I wouldn't completely write that off, but it's time to change that up. Find somewhere else to go. Use a different method, or something like that, to try to source your games. Because if you keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result, well, that's the very definition of insanity. Is continuing to do the same thing, expecting a different result. So don't do that. Number 10, know how to spot fakes. That's a big one, especially if you're going for high dollar items. You want to know if it's fake or not. For example, my Bucky O'Hare. It's not a fake, but that was one of the things that I made sure that I checked. I made sure that I looked at when I bought it. Even though bought it at a really good deal, $50 for this and a console. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't a fake before I put it in my collection, and it wasn't. So, you know, resources you can use. If you collect long enough and you look at enough games, you'll know if something's off or not. Whether it's, you know, the plastic or the writing or the mold or the artwork or even the condition. So this is in good condition, but I can look at it and I can tell that it's a 90s label. You know, it has some wear on it, some few dents and dings. I can tell, you know, by feeling the plastic that it's legit plastic. I can look at the PCB in there and tell that it's a legit one. But the only way to truly know is to open it up and look at the board. And that'll tell you everything you need to know. When doing that, there's some really good fakes out there. So, you know, use your phone or internet or whatever. Pull up known legitimate photos and compare them to what you've got. And you'll be golden. So guys, we're at number 10. So I'm going to wrap this video up today because we're already at 15 minutes 39 seconds. So thanks for watching. Hopefully these 10 tips help you. Definitely tune in next week to the other 10 tips that I have to give you all in video game collecting. I'll link some videos down below that I think you should go and watch, and it may give you a little more insight into to collecting. So guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully it helps. We will see you all next week. So bye.